everybody. Welcome to This Week in Mormons, the show that brings you Mormon news and commentary. And things. And wind, manufactured by man, apparently.
Hey, Jeff, it's me, Al.
Hey, Al.
I'm on a boat.
I know you are. How's the Caribbean, man?
I'm not really on a boat.
Oh, why can't we lie?
You know what's even better is right as I said that, your profile picture popped up in my newsfeed of Jeff Goldblum going, shh, shh, shh. That was poetic. I don't even know where that came from.
Al, why is there an air mattress behind you? Have you been kicked out of your own bedroom? Who's visiting?
My sister was here visiting. She just flew out. I was at the airport dropping her off when we spoke earlier.
I love your family.
It was delightful. No, it was great. We were doing some work stuff out here in the Salt Lake Kitty.
Yeah.
And now she's gone. It's over. We went and had Saturday's waffle this morning. That's my favorite thing to show people in Salt Lake. If you are in Salt Lake, people, listen, if you are in Salt Lake, go up to Mount Olympus Saturday morning, 8 to noon. The Saturday's waffle guys are tremendous. They're in the Dan's parking lot. Just amazing. I have been going every week that I'm in town for over a year and a half.
Hold on a second, Al. Hold on.
Go on, Jeff.
I recall a man who just a few minutes ago before we started recording said, quote, I'm not going to promote something that's not paying us money to do it.
That's a church book.
Are you telling me
some goofy church book that's poorly written?
Is This Week in Mormons brought to you by Saturday's Waffle?
Yeah, sure. No, whatever.
Aren't you on the board of
advisors? No, it's brought to you by Saturday's Waffle because it brings me the energy to be here today. That dumb book does nothing for us. Saturday's Waffle, they feed me. I am nourished. Bless and strengthening my nourishment.
It's like me in strip clubs, you know? I go there, and the positive energy, I corral it together, and I reflect it.
Perfect.
Upon everyone. I actually remember.
Yeah, no, I like that.
To be sure, I've never been to a strip club, but I remember near the end of high school when my birthday's later, so I was always young for my class, but I had a lot of friends turning 18, and so the big thing, all these seniors are like, guys, we're going to go to the strip clubs now. It's going to be awesome. I was unable to accompany them, and that's okay, because I started college and I was 17, so yeah.
That just has to be, like, I can't imagine. As the dirtiest, worst place I can go in my mind, I still could not be comfortable sitting in a strip club.
Are you telling me you don't want to go to the Sahara Theater on Ball Road in Anaheim, California?
No, yeah, sure. No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm saying the idea of sitting there with a toothless woman dancing, and you're like, Well,
if any indication, the last time you went on a cruise was when we went to Cozumel?
Yes. I'm not a cruise goer.
Yeah, that was a fine time because that showed me that Al could not do a strip club because just dancing on the dance floor with, as you would call, worldly dancing, for lack of a better expression, Mr. Doan over here was quite uncomfortable with what the ladies were doing to him. He was trying to laugh it off and look all like, oh, wow, this is a wacky good time, but I knew deep down.
I don't know what to do with my hands. When a booty is shoved at you, I don't know where to put my hands. Yeah. So I end up, I just raise them up on my face and jazz hands the whole time.
That actually kind of is what you did. You did a lot of like side to side looking, acting like you were feigning surprise.
And you and Matt all just sat for the sidelines and watched you. That was the worst. Oh, that was so nasty.
No, that was amazing. And for longtime listeners have probably heard this story before. But the greatest part of it is, Al was pursuing the cruise ship hookup. This is the coveted, elusive cruise ship hookup. But it was not to be, which was all for the best. So all of us gave up waiting on him to make his move, so we go to bed. And all of us fell asleep. And then a little bit later...
rooting me on.
And then we were like, we're with you, brother. A little bit later, Al comes in the room finally, and we kind of wake up. And that's like, oh, hey, half asleep, and that's the end of the night. The next day we're chatting, and it turns out he comes in the room about 15 minutes after we had arrived there and all fallen asleep because it was like 2 a.m, having given up on his quest with the Oklahoma girl. Oh, you Ozark people. I just don't understand you.
It was the worst. No, this is where that whole thing broke down. I was excited to have a cruise love connection.
It broke down when she was trying to get you to buy drinks for her.
That's exactly it. I refused to ever buy alcohol. And so she was like, no, if you like me, you'll buy me a drink. And I'm like, I don't like it that much. In fact, I predict that we will only talk to each other on this cruise ship. And that proved to be true on all fronts. She tried to call a few times after. It was.
Did
What
she
do you do with a
did
woman
she
in
really?
Oklahoma? Yeah.
I don't know. I think we were all Facebook friends for a bit, but I removed her years ago.
No, we had the whole karaoke crew ended up as Facebook friends, if I remember.
It was well, no, not that drunk guy we sang with, but
Not Lee J. Not Lee. Not Lee J, the drunken karaoke
the
man.
guy who made us sing
he
Bohemian
was-
Rhapsody with him.
Yes, him.
Those were the good old days.
Well, so I'll be on another cruise. This one will not be nearly as entertaining, I assure you. I'm bringing like 6 books to read. I'm excited.
So you're going on a cruise to not enjoy yourself.
No, I'll be miserable by choice, Jeff.
Now, I believe so you're going to what? You told me what? You're going to Jamaica and Haiti?
And Haiti.
Is that it? Just over a whole weekend you're only going to those two?
There's like 3 days at sea. I don't know, Jeff.
It does take a while to get to Jamaica because you have to sail around Cuba.
Here's what I know.
So.
Here's the details I have. There will be a fake wave pool thing that I can ride as though I were surfing on the boat.
Which is this Royal Caribbean? What cruise line is this? This is amazing.
I have no idea. Jeff, you know me in details. This is not my forte.
You know
I just
nothing.
get tidbits from people. I bought my flights like 4 days ago. So I will be riding the wave thing. I know they have a soft serve ice cream machine for free, and I know that I will be reading my books.
Do you have your passport this time?
It's a good point. I should.
I
check
get
on that.
worried
Yes, I'll
about
have my
you and passport remembrance are not good friends.
Oh, I had to have it overnighted to Miami last time, didn't
yeah, I remember.
I? That was exciting.
Well, I'm excited for you to go and get the waves. I'm just going to be hanging out. I've got one of my colleagues at work actually gets to go to L.A. for a presentation, and I'm trying to like get myself to piggyback on this thing for an excuse to go home, but I don't think it's going to happen. So that's the week I have to look forward to. You enjoy the Caribbean. I will be wishing for a free trip to Monrovia, California. Honestly, though, I've become a Sky Miles addict. My wife knows this, but I care less about the trip and more about I just want to accrue enough miles to go gold. I'm obsessed with becoming a gold medallion member this year.
Are you going to make it?
It depends. If I go to South Africa for work, I'll make it. I'll probably make it on that trip alone, but yeah. That's all.
Well, I hope you do, Jeff.
Thank
I
you.
wish you everything.
Folks, we have a tremendous show this week. All sorts of things. There's things going on in the news.
Jeff, we've had an exciting week. I watched Mitt, the documentary, last night.
Okay, so tell me about Mitt the Dog. I've yet to watch it because
from his sex crazed hair on the movie box. What do you depict would happen?
Now, from what I've heard, it is not very political, and it's more just the portrait of a man. A man chasing a dream. A man chasing his white whale.
White whale meaning his dream, his
a
fantasy.
man tilting at windmills. That's what I've heard is going on here. How many other literary references must I use?
So the stuff that I had heard about it was that it wasn't a campaign documentary. It was a home movie, and I feel like that was actually pretty accurate.
Okay.
It starts out with him losing in 2008, ends with him losing in 2012. The middle stuff is all sort of him being sad that he's losing.
That's the perfect synopsis. But on Jimmy Fallon last night, he actually said, he's like, no, I fully expected to win. Like, he had no concession speech written. Was that part of it? Like, because he thought the polling said he was actually going to win.
Well, he did until like the week leading up to it.
Yeah, I was confused by that. I remember when they started throwing a lot of money at Pennsylvania, which does not typically go Republican. And so either they were feeling very bullish about their chances to just really sweep the board, or I honestly think it was just misdirection because they knew they were going to lose Ohio. So they were just trying.
Well, I think Ohio was on the rocks for a while, and then they needed a couple of their other ones. Like if they lost Ohio, right? They needed Colorado.
Yeah, they lost a lot more states than I think anyone thought they were going to.
Well, they were expecting to win a few of these other ones that were sort of what was it? Michigan? He didn't win Michigan, did he?
I don't remember. Let's look. 2012 election. I don't think he won Michigan, which of course is his home state. But the problem is Michigan is quite, it tends to vote pretty blue. It's a union state. Here we are. Yeah, he lost Michigan. He lost Virginia. He did win North Carolina, which Obama won in 2008. So he has that going for him. Yippee! And he lost Colorado and New Mexico. And All of New England, even Massachusetts. But the point is, did you find it to be a compelling study of an individual? Was it really just a home movie? Was it just hanging out, watching the Romneys, kicking it?
Yeah, it was. It was. Well, so the things that were interesting were you got a little bit more insight into him and his family. I mean, his whole family. Like there was a little bit of restraint shown as they kept having this discussion about whether or not they were going to run again between the 2008 and 2012, because like he's got like a dozen kids. That's not true. There's fewer than that. But they all have their own lives, and like he was roping them all in on this stuff, right? And so they were all they all kind of had to give up what they were doing to come be a part of this. And they're like, man, it'd be great to just be done with this. And they talked about the pros and cons, and they're like, the con of running for president is if you win, you would actually have to be president, and then our privacy and all like everything that we've worked so hard for over the years is gone, which you don't really think of very often. You think of very
no.
You
think that winning the election is a pro typically. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know. It was interesting. I enjoyed watching it.
Did you feel like any of it was a setup for any kind of a political career for Tag Romney? How much was he highlighted?
Oh, not much.
Okay. We saw just some clips they showed. Like we saw him on if you missed it, he was on Jimmy Fallon the other night, and part of that was he sang the slow jam the news with Mitt Romney. It was relatively amusing, but they showed another clip of the documentary. It showed a lot of Tag. Like I was wondering how much they're trying to prop up Tag Romney for a political run in a couple of years.
No, I don't think that's the case. He has one kid that's got like buck teeth.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about, the goofy one with the curly hair.
Yeah. Weird looking guy.
Yeah, what's his deal?
I don't know. And he was in there. I think it was just his teeth was in there more than I enjoyed.
What do you think?
I kept seeing them and I was like, "Ew, man, you've got all the money in the world. Can't you fix those?"
Here's the question for
Buster,
you, then.
you can't do that on the balcony, buddy.
So here's the question, though. Why do you think they did it then? If you don't think it was to prop up Tag Romney for something, I mean, he's not going to run for president again. That's a given. So why do you think they did it?
Well, they alluded to something in there where they talked about like the first run. You know, when he talked about his dilemma in dipping into personal money. He said you only dip into personal money to build your brand, right? To build your personal brand. And then one of his sons joked, and he's like, "Yeah, well, great job there, because the brand you built is the flip-flopping Mormon."
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, that's true." It was kind of like I didn't build a great brand. And so coming out of that, I can imagine that it's more about sort of the legacy that he's leaving. It's more about clearing the air and being like, "Listen, you guys all thought that I was some plastic whatever, but like I'm a real person. I tried hard. I had good ideas, and like my intent was an honest intent, and I wanted to help this country." And I think that's more why he would fund a documentary, why you would promote it, why you'd do anything with it, because you don't want to be remembered as the flip-flopping Mormon.
So you think this is just legacy, straight up?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, I'm curious to see why. Well, I mean, obviously, a documentarian just cares about getting the subject and taking care of it. But they're going to release it either way. But I am curious what the Romneys' personal investment is.
I mean, it would make sense, right? And it'd be like if they could start feeding their boy Tag into politics early. I mean, why not keep the legacy going? That's 2 presidential candidates in a row.
Exactly. There you go.
Might as well go 3. But
I'm anxious to see it. We're holding off for a week. I've got some friends who want to throw a viewing party. These friends are all rather active Democrats, so it's going to be hilarious to watch them go at it. They probably won't have much fodder if it's just a kind of a personal portrait.
The one other thing that was interesting in that whole shtick was the sort of the dilemma with being viewed as a flip-flopper, and you have all of McCain's cheeky quips and stuff. And I mean, you're just like, outside of the election, all those little schoolyard tactics seem so stupid.
Yeah.
And that was my thought as I was watching that. Is I'm just like, man, people refuse. Like, we all get caught up in the fervor of it all. It's silly.
We do. Politics is crazy. One little thing you say, will be blown up so far out of proportion. I mean, it's crazy.
Yep.
But we hope. I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts. I mean, obviously, I'm sure we have many Romney supporters.
Jeff, you can't wait a week to watch this. Even for a viewing party, just watch it again.
But I want to feel surprised.
Don't care.
And I want to hear snarky commentary.
Why don't you hear snarky commentary
I don't know.
the second time?
Okay, maybe I will. So speaking of, since we're on politics here, interesting thing has been going on for the past few days, namely the past week. The Utah State Legislature is set to convene for their legislative session. And one of the items on the agenda, apparently, is to review perhaps liberalizing Utah's liquor laws a little bit. Not making it just crazily liberalized, but opening a few things up. Maybe that's a discussion worth having. I don't care much about alcohol. But for a little background, most people assume, incorrectly so, that Utah has the most stringent alcohol laws in the country. They do have tight alcohol restrictions, but not the most. And especially out in the south and back east, there are counties that are still dry counties, probably in Missouri too, Al, where just alcohol cannot be sold at all. And we don't really do that out west. That's not.
I don't believe Missouri has any dry counties.
Probably not.
I think you're thinking of the Quakers, Jeff.
Yeah.
They have
there are dry counties. You just go out to Tennessee, Georgia, all these places, and I even saw once on a television program, there was a bar that straddled two counties. And so the bar where the alcohol part was in the wet county, but their bathrooms were in a dry county. And so patrons actually had to leave their drinks in a little deposit area if they had to use the restroom, because they were not legally allowed to take them into the restrooms because that was into a dry county. I kid you not.
Uh-huh.
So this stuff happens. States have liquor laws. Utah is one of 18 what's called a control state. Okay? And that means the state...
Go on.
Well, that means the state government exercises some sort of influence in the regulation on the sale of alcohol. In Utah's case, they have various rules as far as times. This is common elsewhere, like time of day during which alcohol can be served, alcohol by volume numbers to require it to be regulated by the state, or where it can be sold. If you've been to Utah, you've probably noticed that supermarkets pretty much just have beer in them, because anything with higher proof has to be purchased at a state-run liquor store. These happen elsewhere. Virginia has state-run liquor stores. Not that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the point of this is, normally this would be Utah's business, but for some reason, the church has decided that it's time to wade in on this. And I would understand if it were just a press release saying, hey, Utah, don't get too liberal here with the Utah laws. We like it the way it is. But they've gone to the step of actually sending Elder D. Todd Christofferson in for a little newsroom interview where he spends 10 minutes or so explaining why Utah's status quo is fine and should not be changed. And I admit I find myself puzzled by this intervention on the church's part. I mean, is this you could say it's a moral issue. Sure, I mean, it's booze and everything like that. But is this a moral issue on par with that, where we have to speak up and say this isn't politics, this is about the overall moral well-being of society, so we're chiming in? I don't know. What do you think about this?
I'm actually, I don't know why the church is it's hard because I keep trying to think back. As I was growing up, I mean, we had a gambling law that came on the books in Missouri with the riverboats and stuff, and the church took a very active role in trying to keep gambling out.
And they've done stuff, and they've done other things like this before. Back in the 70s or maybe early 80s, there was a federal proposal to put a lot of. It's ironic because it's not like there's not nuclear waste in western Utah. But they wanted to bring in stuff like that into Utah. And the church, President Kimball actually came out and said, we do not favor this stuff being brought into Utah. And then it just died in committee. So
yeah. Well, so like the fact that stuff happens means that this shouldn't be unusual to us. It's just unusual because I feel like the church is more and more careful about those sort of statements and stances. We're becoming more of a church. It's like we teach you correct principles, and then we encourage you to weigh the matter carefully and then make a decision, right? Like that's more their stance now, instead of prop whatever needs to go down.
And that's why it's funny because this isn't like hands off. Hey, alcohol laws be what they are. We're here to teach what's right and wrong, and you make the choice regardless of what is available to you in a particular situation. And so it is different. And now it's like I teach them correct principles, and also we want to be involved in putting roadblocks up just in case at the same time. So I do find it interesting, especially with an interview with Elder Christofferson. And my understanding, the few things that would change, and I've tried to look around to fully get a grasp on what's what. My understanding in Utah, for one, you can't be served alcohol at a restaurant before your food comes, I guess. And please, if we have listeners who know or who are drinkers or whatever it may be, I don't care.
If we have drunkards listening,
no,
to
not
this.
even drunkards, but we have a diverse listener base.
Quasi-drunkards.
So wherever you are, please let me know about this. But so my understanding is currently you can't do that. This would change the law so you could get your cocktail before your food comes. Also, I guess all the liquor displays you find in restaurants that have bars. A great example might be like a Cheesecake Factory because I know they have one there, right? They've got
I've eaten there.
They've got the big bar with all the illuminated gray goose in the background. But I guess in Utah, wherever drinks are prepared has to be out of view of the general dining room. So they usually have a partition set up to block it from view because that's, inherently bad for kids to see, something along those lines. So these are the things there's probably other stuff that I don't understand. But these are the things that are in question for changing in Utah's laws. And this is what the church is against. Like, they want to keep alcohol behind the partition so kids can't see it, for example. And they don't want you to have your drink before your food comes.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a huge deal either. Well, I mean, maybe it's a bigger deal, and I'm thinking maybe this is the slippery slope that you're coming in on. Clearly, if a member of the Quorum of the 12 feels like he needs to come out and address it, we should be paying more attention to it.
It's that,
but it's a local Utah issue, which again, I mean, like national stuff, I can see a member of the 12 making a statement on. Local to Salt Lake City / Utah, sort of. I feel like we've moved past that a lot.
I would hope so, and that's why I think
we haven't,
and that's why I think it's stranger because if we're calling morality on this and it's a moral issue, then once again, does this go to the idea that we should be encouraging the saints in all 50 states and in every country in the world to push for similar, liquor laws like those found in Utah? I mean, or do we don't do it because it's not really feasible and no, it's not going to happen. But by that logic, I would assume we should be getting into it and telling like Nevada next door, guys, you're immoral, fix it.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
So.
Anyway,
like you said, yeah, it's different.
So big news, Jeff.
Tell me.
The Joseph Smith movie is up on YouTube.
The following program is brought to you with limited commercial interruption by the following.
It is so exciting to so first, yeah, pretty cool that the Joseph Smith Prophet of the Restoration movie is on Hulu and YouTube now, where you can watch the full movies. So great. You can share the trailer. If you've been waiting to share a trailer for a movie people can watch, I wonder, if you just saw this as somebody who had no idea what Mormonism was, I feel like it would be a helpful movie. I feel like if you watched that, you would come out with an understanding and sort of a realization of what was going on. It's well produced and well done.
It is.
So I actually think this is a great tool to have in our disposal.
Do we know which cut of the film this is? Is this the original cut, or is this the one that's being played in visitor centers and the Legacy Theater and all that?
What's different about them?
They made these very, very big changes a couple of years ago. So there's basically two different films. The original cut is built around the narrative, of course, of this daughter who's a convert from England and her father, and them traveling along the Mississippi to Nauvoo, and then you get all the story of Joseph Smith built around that. They cut that out for the second cut, and instead they based a lot of it around Lucy Mack Smith and her perspective. And you have much more footage of her talking, and she actually narrates the story. And so you see many of the same little vignettes to tell the tale, but they structure it completely differently. And that immigrant family, the English one, are nowhere to be seen. They're not in it at all. So and there are many other differences as well. One that I thought was unfortunate.
No, so this is the immigrant one. It's an hour and 1 minute long.
Okay, so it's that one.
And it's starting off with a lady that's, my family landed in America after.
Yeah, and that's the one that's been available. And that's the one that's been available digitally, even on YouTube for a while. I don't know if there is actual home viewing access to the one that's played in visitor centers and the like. I'm not sure.
I like that they turned off comments for it. They just didn't even want to mess with it.
Is this on Hulu?
No, that was on YouTube.
That's on YouTube. And that's the other interesting thing. It's good that they put it on Hulu, but it's been on YouTube for a while, and people are already on YouTube because it's free. So it is interesting to me that they want to reach out and open it up to another platform when that platform on its own is more restrictive.
Even better, 3.5 stars. Jeff, we're in a 4th star. Jim Cramer says, don't sell. And you can have comments on it here. Let's see what the comments
We've gone
say.
up to don't buy. This is great airspace right now. I'm loving this.
No, I'm just reading some of the comments.
Okay.
Of course, they're angry.
Of course,
They're
they always
angry
are.
that this movie exists. And
So-
it's the exact same movie on Hulu. Anyway,
So-
now we've got to the bottom of that, everybody.
So it's cool that it's on Hulu. It does seem like, it's kind of funny to just put it on a more restricted platform with fewer people, but whatever. Branch out.
well,
get
it's
it
more
there.
about just turning up in search results, right?
Saturation,
They
yeah.
should get it on Netflix.
They really should.
You should be on every platform.
My desire, though, is for the church to fully digitize so many of its old VHS cassette films. I'm sure they want to move past them, but just for legacy viewing, I wish they would start putting those up on the Mormon channel.
Like what? Like what are you waiting
And some-
for?
some-
The old Michael McLean ones?
Sure, some people have them unofficially. You can find them that way on other people's channels. Like The Prodigal Son, great video. It's never even been released on DVD. You can actually find that on our website if you want to watch it. We have it up on there. There are other ones. There are many. Just like The Mountain of the Lord. The Mountain of the Lord's a great movie. I think it
I
came.
will not move from this place until the Lord has shown me.
And I think
what
it came
to
out
do.
on DVD, but we don't seem to want to make it available for any sort of streaming. And I would like all those films, just the old seminary videos, the old Doctrine and Covenants videos, and all those. The great one from the Old Testament videos, that awkward one when they're camping.
There's pirated the animated stories. They've got a bunch of the animated stories up there. Living Scriptures has
those
them.
are not done by the church, just to be sure.
Hold on, Jeff. Just watch this and tell me if this doesn't bring back great memories.
Is it step by step I climb the highest
even better.
So
mountain?
our brother thinks he can build a ship.
The Lord
So our
showed me how to
brother
build
thinks
it.
he can build a ship.
I'm not going to let my family get
Jesus
into your
told
boat
me to
and
do it.
brought-
These are really well animated.
They're great, yeah. Anyway, neither
Actually-
here nor there.
I still loved them as a kid. They taught stories perfectly well. The problem is Living Scriptures is like one of those like crazy Utah rackets where even now if you want to buy DVDs that can hold all this space, they'll come with 2 20-minute videos on them for something like $24.95.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, the Encyclopedia Britannica days are well behind us, folks. It's time to move past that
I would
model.
even buy those, except they like once you're on their list, they start mailing them to you and then billing you. They had a great racket going where you're like, "Why are you sending me these? I don't owe you any money." And they're like, "Yes, you do."
Yeah, exactly. It was like the old CD clubs back in the 90s. BMG Music Service. Oh, yeah. That's sweet.
Boom.
All right, moving on here. Gilbert Temple Open House is underway. We've talked about it before. My sister went through. She said it was really cool. Interestingly, she said it's super crowded. So I guess no one's, maybe this is common now in Temple Open Houses. It's been a while. But nobody is actually touring and walking around and stopping in a room and sort of explaining what goes on in that room of the temple, then moving on. My sister
They're
said,
just walking you through it.
my sister
That's
said,
not normal.
my sister said, you walk through in silence, and there are just some signs put up to say what stuff is, and that's it. You don't really stop; you just go through. But they're pulling something like 12 to 1,500 people an hour through the place. So
That is not normal.
so they're very busy, but that's what they're doing, which I feel is a little unfortunate. It's nice when you actually get to go in and have the missionaries tell you what's going on and whatever.
There is nothing I can't do.
Doing
Doing it with you.
But building on that, nice story here in Jewish AZ, which is an Arizona Jewish news outlet. Just a guy named Rabbi Jeremy.
Finally, the Arizona Jews are represented.
Rabbi Jeremy Schneider happened
Stop your kvetching.
with a nice delegation, got to go on a tour of the Gilbert, Arizona Temple. This one was actually probably a better tour than the one my sister experienced, for example.
Yeah,
because
he's a VIP.
they
Your
got,
sister's
it's
a
true.
whatever.
They got to go through with an Area 70 and a stake president and the temple president and all sorts of things. But I like it. He just writes a good post about just interfaith understanding and better getting each other and appreciating what other faiths have to offer. One of his near to one of his last paragraphs, he says, I believe a common misconception that many religious people hold is thinking that wisdom can only be found in their own tradition. Jews read the writings of other Jews, Christians read the writings of other Christians, Buddhists read the writing of other Buddhists, etc. In fact, sometimes within a faith, people limit their study to those who agree with them. Right? And then he talks about the schisms between Orthodox Jews, liberal
Moses
Jews.
learned from his non-Israelite father, Jethro, a Midianite.
Exactly.
You remember that? He uses that. Of course, this rabbi. I like this guy.
I like this guy. And he says, from the Mormons I know and have worked with over the years, I have learned about complete faith. It gives them serenity and acceptance of adversity, which I admire, which is one of the things I love about the gospel. I love our understanding of adversity. Because he says, as a Jew, I am always ready to argue with God, but maybe it's simply time to say I believe in God and I trust in God. So it's a great takeaway. I mean, yeah, because the Jewish tradition might...
I believe.
You good?
I think I'm going to just sing along with everything you say. I think as you talk, I'll just be a soundtrack.
Okay, that's cool.
Does that work for you?
Yeah. So
anyway, good
cool,
job.
Cool
Good
story.
job,
I like
Arizona
that
Temple.
one. Yeah, good for
Poor
him.
job with Melanie, Jeff's sister, because she felt like she was part of cattle. It was just being herded through, and would be beaten if she asked a question about her faith. Imagine if there was somebody. Imagine if somebody had an honest question and wanted to join our faith, and instead we say silence, you lambs. Silence.
Don't compare my sister to cattle. I'm pointing my wand at you.
I'm saying she felt like cattle, Jeff. I'm saying point that wand at the Gilbert area authorities.
Okay.
And then the
Which way am
rabbi,
I
good
facing?
job with
This
the
way.
rabbi. So when you found somebody of importance, you took care of them. Yeah. So, I mean, good class distinction. Obviously, Melanie doesn't matter. The rabbi is significant. They weeded right through that, saw right through the vapors, and got right to the substance. So well done.
This is perfect. Well done. Well played. Good job.
Let's see some other great things going on. Here's a little story from Hawaii. This is interesting. So I guess back in the day there used to be church-owned pineapple plantations on Maui.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, church on.
And supposedly, I don't know much about these. So what I know, I'm reading from a couple of articles. This back in the day, they used to have returned missionaries would go there, sort of as a camp or camp counselors, and they would run these things, and they would hire Utah and Arizona and Idaho boys to fly over there and pick pineapples for a summer. So you got to go and live in Hawaii. It was a job. You got money, that whole bit. Well, it turns out there was one camp counselor that was into boys, as it turned out. And so there's two people that are filing a suit against the church, saying that the church also knew, and against this man who molested them in their youth. And kind of a crummy situation. It's actually smart. You notice that in the church has left a majority of these programs, and even the programs that they sponsor, like EFY and things of that nature, they have like a lot of safeguards in place where it's not like one counselor is ever on the floor. It's always two counselors with multiple groups and all that stuff. They're very, very careful about that stuff now, which is really good. I mean, that's good that we're watching that. And kind of crummy for these boys that had that happen. And I don't know, like, so is the church accountable? Again, the
church is accountable if they kept it quiet. I mean, it's a criminal offense.
That we kind of come back to on these things. Do we think that the church actually knew in this case? Jeff, you've read the article.
That's complete speculation. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if the church knew. I mean, that's all hearsay. This is just, he said, she said kind of stuff. They'll have to.
Nothing in this indicates to you that they would have known?
I honestly can't say that they would have or would not have. It's hard to say. I mean, these are saying these guys came and ran this thing, and then some other guys were molested in one way or another, and they're speaking out about it 20 years later.
They suggest that there were others that were also subjected to this, and they're hoping that other people will come forward as well.
So maybe, I mean, things like this unfortunately do happen. But the main thing is, if the church knew about it but tried to sweep it under the rug, then the church is culpable.
Well, so let's say the church, let's say we had sort of a Catholic church experience here, where they knew about it, a bishop knew about it, or something of that nature. Don't shake your head at me. This is a real deal.
Everyone. Friends to all. Friend to all.
So let's say that the church knew about it and they covered it up. What is the right way what is the correct course of action the church should take here?
It's hard. It was a long time ago, but if this is the case, I mean, you could talk about criminal prosecution against the people involved who said nothing.
So does the church's right move would be what, to offer up those people and offer
probably
take
the
no
church. The church has a zero.
Just say the bishop did it. Get him.
The church has a zero tolerance policy, and so if they had names and there was a real case against them, I don't think the church would have a problem saying we don't stand by what happened here, and we expect them to be prosecuted, to the full extent of the law as applicable. The church has shown a history of being imperfect, but also shown a history of having no problem. I don't want to say giving people up, but saying look, we don't condone this, so if they messed up, then we're not going to have their backs or anything just because you were the bishop or something. We don't. If you're a bishop who does stupid things that are against the law, then you're a bishop who did stupid things that were against the law, and that's just that.
Still, I mean, it's sad for a bishop like that, who I'm sure, in his mind is protecting the better name of the church.
Yeah.
Right, and he's like, he's sweeping it under the rug so that this doesn't get out and really make the church look bad. When really, in the end, the church is like, no. You take care of what needs to be taken care of. We'll take care of us.
Exactly. Now, staying in Polynesia, New Zealand, as you might know, Peggy Fletcher Stack, folks, writes us an article here all about how the church was, you might have known years ago, and I think it was back in like 2006 or 2007. The church closed a school that they ran there. They had the LDS Church College of New Zealand.
This is in Hamilton, New Zealand.
Hamilton, New Zealand, yeah. So, which is about an hour or so outside of Auckland, I believe, in the town of Templeview in Hamilton. Planned community.
Because I went to the Auckland Temple, but I didn't go to the Hamilton Temple.
I
was confused when I was looking at these photos.
There's only one temple in New Zealand, Al.
That's not true. There's one in Auckland.
No.
Hold on, Jeff. Do tell. Or wait, where else is the other one? Wellington, maybe?
There's only one temple in New Zealand.
I was somewhere, and I took it.
You went to it? Didn't you go to the temple in Tahiti?
I went to the Tahiti one.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
it.
Good job, guy. Point is, they plan on tearing down all of these buildings. They've kind of been lying fallow for a long time. But just for everyone's information, in good news, I suppose, they will be tearing down some of these famed buildings that date back for many, many, many years. But they want to now develop sort of a legacy park. They'll build a new stake center for a multi-stake use kind of thing.
They only want to do this because people didn't want the other buildings torn down.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. So they want to build a legacy park and instead pad this out so it becomes a little bit more of a church history site, perhaps. So the school's been closed since 2006, but it is nice. The church originally was just going to trash everything and make it just grazing land. They were going to tear down the buildings and just let livestock do its thing. And that was all the plan was. But now, the new plan is
because they have a
happier.
similar history to sort of the BYU Hawaii stuff, where church leaders saw in a vision what was supposed to be there. They built it up. It was there. This is kind of interesting though, because it served its purpose, and like a lot of people are still clinging to that. They're saying, "Hey, whoa! The early leaders that came here, they saw this. This was supposed to be the way it was, and here it is. And you can't just come in and tear it down." Yeah. And I think often we forget that stuff serves the season, and then we move on, and then things change and continue to evolve. So, boo on the church! They should be tearing this down and not heeding to the wills and desires of the people. If the vision has served its purpose, tear that town down.
Interesting thing, though, is they're going to upgrade the roads, and they're actually, this new stake center they're going to build will use some of the parts of the former David O. McKay building. And the architecture, they're actually going to go for like old school 40s church building architecture, so it kind of just blends in with the history of the land.
Or it's exceptionally cheap because that's how they built it back in the 40s. It might be one or the other, yeah. So the other thing,
so whatever.
The other thing that was weird, like Tahiti, it was in this ghetto area. I wonder, like, a lot of these old Polynesian areas, I mean, they were built back in the day. Well, the same with Mesa. We have some of these temples that were built in these areas that they were hoping for the future that it would get better. And then when it doesn't get better, what do you do with it? Do you just buy all that land and tear it down and fix your own? Or
yeah,
I mean, what do they? I don't know. That's not related to this story per se, but when you mentioned Hamilton, New Zealand, and I thought you meant Auckland, New Zealand, when I went to the temple in Tahiti, that's what made me think of it, Jeff. And that's how we got to this story.
That was wonderful. Was the Tahiti one the one that burned down a couple of years ago, or was that the one in Samoa?
That was Samoa.
That was Samoa that burned, but they're similar to each other.
Yeah,
small ones. So yeah, that's what happened in there.
Hold on, I'm excited to talk about the director who is excited to raise the bar on LDS comedies.
Tell me about the bar being raised, because it's very,
with
very
low. With a new
low.
movie
very low
called Inspired Guns.
Okay.
A hilarious tale of missionaries who stumble into teaching mafia people. And then
the mafia people,
drama ensues. Hilarity ensues.
And I believe the mafia people think that they are like informants or somebody for the mob. It's a classic a classic tale of mistaken identities reaps big laughs.
Well, I know a lot of us have we laughed at God's Army even though it was a drama.
I know.
And we said it can't get better. and then out came the RM, and it got better.
No, I don't.
And then we
the
said
RM was
they
terrible.
can't get better. And then they came out with the singles ward, and we said, where do you go from the top, people?
Al, first off, you're getting your chronology wrong. The Singles Ward was the first of the Hailstorm Entertainment comedies.
Yeah, God's Army was not Hailstorm.
No, God's Army was
the RM.
no God's Army was by Richard Dutcher.
What about the Jane Austen?
You mean
the Jane Austen one that the Mormons redid?
you mean Pride and Prejudice?
Pride and Prejudice. There's the Mormon version of Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes, I do, because the heyday for a lot of these films was around 2004, 2005, and that's when I worked at Deseret Book, so I dealt with them just all the time. We'd watch them.
Pride and Prejudice, a latter-day comedy, they call it.
We would actually put them in a computer and watch one of the DVDs, and then we would re-shrink wrap it and put it back on the shelf.
From Excel Entertainment. See, yeah, so we've hit our peak, people.
Don't forget. No, the best 2 years wasn't that bad.
The best, yeah. Well, that's an accurate way of describing it. The best 2 years wasn't that bad. And truth be told, like, I've enjoyed all these movies. I've sat and watched them, and they have good cultural references to being Mormon. And
you know what the best one is? Have you seen Sons of Provo?
No,
you will never get that hour. Even Danielle's looking at me just at the mere mention of Sons of Provo because I made her watch it once, and she'll never get that hour and a half back, ever.
Yeah,
but,
why? No, that sounds awful, and it is awful. Why would we ever watch it?
Because
here we have
ridiculous.
Inspired Guns, Jeff. We have Inspired Guns. The man has taken the bar. He said, I see your comedy, everyone else, and I raise you with a very niche, low-budget comedy of my own. So we're excited to see this. If it gets more stars than Mitt on Netflix, I will eat my hat.
That's the funny thing. They need all these church movies on Netflix. No, I don't think.
Oh my gosh,
we
need that up.
The only ones on there are the two Saints and Soldiers movies. That's it.
No, Netflix would be smart to just have a vast database of movies, right? Netflix would be really wise if they went to Sundance and everybody that didn't get a contract, they said, hey, I'll produce, put it out on Netflix, man. We'll start giving you a royalty. Just come on in. Sort of Spotify style. That's what I really want.
Except a lot of artists don't like Spotify. They feel that it's bad business, but they're stuck with it.
Don't care. It keeps me from pirating, and so I love it.
Everyone totally go see Inspired Guns. The laughs you will feel, fry sauce will come out of your nose. It will be amazing.
I guarantee it.
A quick story. There's a fine guy here named Philip Monson.
He's an okay guy.
No, he actually is one of the greatest people.
Let's
ever
not
met.
get too excited, Jeff.
Philip Monson is taking pictures of every temple in Utah, but doing so during each of the seasons. That would mean 4 pictures of each temple.
Oh my gosh, he did it. He got it, people. We can all go home. There's no use competing anymore.
Is this a competition? I thought
clearly. Why else is he trying to do this?
Because he likes photography and he just wants to share the wonder of temples with people. You soulless coward.
Yeah, why can't he pick the best one and share that one? I don't have time to look at 4 different variations of each temple.
Well, what if they're really good? Look at his photos. They're pretty. You got some sunsets. Salt Lake Temple looks very, very nice.
Here's one of the trees. Just trees.
Brigham
That's
City.
No temple.
These are nice shots.
No, I'm done.
Look, there's snow at the Bountiful
Temple.
Temple. Okay, those are just trees. I'll give you that. That's
okay. So there's another story. A tablet in the British Museum, 4,000-year-old tablet, clay tablet, that describes the story of Noah and the Ark. Talks about the ark being round, a rounded ark, sort of as a dish, if you will, much as is alluded to in the Book of Ether.
No. They don't say that they're round in the Book of Ether. If you're saying round, that is round. That is a circle. They just.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tight like unto a dish.
We know that Jared.
They were tight like unto the ark of Noah. No, we don't know.
They tapered off.
We don't know that.
They were shaped like an eye.
There's no illustrations in the Book of Ether.
Maybe not in your version. But
there is speculation. And there have been animated classics, which you've watched.
Al, you need to pick up the New World translation of the Book of Mormon. It's much better.
Where they have little sketches in there.
Yeah. Drawings, pictures, anecdotes, fill in the blanks. Choose your own adventure is a really good one.
So
If you're Korihor, what would you do?
So really, I mean, the idea of this ark, it wasn't so much a ship even; it was just a floating holder.
But why did they think
Right,
it was
it's not-
round?
Well, they think that he just built a big thing that could float, and it floated up and then floated down. It didn't go anywhere. It wasn't like a boat that sailed or anything of that nature.
I'm a sailor.
I mean, when we see it done in classic films like what
about Bob?
Evan the Almighty,
Oh, okay.
maybe, or Noah coming out soon with
Yeah,
who's that,
but
Russell
what
Crowe?
about the description of the ark in the Old Testament, which gives specific dimensions on volume, length, width,
Well,
height?
that it should be made out of gopher wood and be 574 cubits and hand lengths high. I mean, it gives those kind of examples,
Which are
but
not
it doesn't
round.
It doesn't give like ship shape instruction. It doesn't say it'll round towards the bow and you will have an aft and a seaboard.
No, it doesn't say that. But if it's round, that's a circle, and I presume that would be described somehow. You can't really talk about length and width if it's a circle. You have to talk about circumference or diameter, radius.
Oh, that's yeah. Maybe
I got
maybe
an
there's
A in
point there.
geometry. I did very well in geometry.
However, Jeff, if the Lord gave those instructions and you went to building and ended up with a big round boat, you're just going to look at God and be like, I did my best, all right? Listen, so technically length, I got length, and width, I got width. Now, I'm sorry that it was a moving target. I'm not a shipbuilder.
Maybe Nephi's ship was actually round. Maybe that's what they found.
Maybe it's really hard to build a boat from some instructions that are like sub IKEA. I mean, you can't just give poor merchant Noah some dimensions and say, go build this. That's silliness.
Yeah, who needs
What
faith?
does God want?
Al, go listen to Step by Step from the Richard Rich Living Scriptures video where it talks about how step by step he'll climb the highest mountain. He'll get ore.
Well,
And then he'll shock Laman and
so
Lemuel.
God got a big
Shocks
round
him.
ark, right? And he was like, all right, well, I had in mind maybe a few more storms instead. We're just going to rain. It's going to lift up. Then we're going to go down once everybody's dead. And I've cleansed the earth. Good.
I do believe that the ark actually does rest somewhere upon Mount Ararat, based on archaeological evidence.
You believe that's it?
Well, that in the Bible it says it references Ararat, so everyone's thought that. But I've read lots of things, and there are many instances where they see things that appear to be like the skeleton of a great ship that also fits the described dimensions, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still
Ararat.
Mount Ararat is in eastern Turkey, close to the
How
border.
do you spell Ararat?
Ararat. Arar. Yeah. Ararat.
The ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day upon the mountains of Ararat.
Ararat's it's a large volcanic system. It is also the national symbol of Armenia, even though it does not lie within Armenia's borders. Though it might have previously, before what was once Armenia was absorbed by the Ottoman state, and then the Armenian genocide of 1919, of course, which Turkey says never happened. We can continue discussing Turkish politics if you want on a separate podcast.
Yeah, what should we call that one?
Turkish Politics by This Week in Mormons.
They really think that's Noah's Ark, huh?
Oh, there's a lot of different stuff out there. That would.
Well, I'm
say
glad
this.
it's a part of our lives.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's so many animals. So many animals. All right, Jeff. Well, that's all we have for you people. I hope you've enjoyed our efforts to entertain you for over an hour. And if you aren't pleased, email us with your vile and putrents.
And your social security number and your maternal grandmother's maiden name.
That's all Jeff needs, and he can hack any social security number tied bank account.
Yeah.
He's very good. He's very good. He's a criminal mind.
That's what my job is for the government. I'm a white hacker. Is that what they call me? Yes.
He's a white cracker. That's exactly right.
Al, that's offensive. That's offensive. Just like
What
Mitt
did
Romney
you say,
is the
Jeff?
Mitt Romney's the
I'm
whitest.
sorry.
Mitt Romney is the whitest guy alive. That's offensive.
Don't say that.
How dare you say these things? I'm offended as a white person.
All right. Well, yeah, so you can email us, contact at This Week in Mormons. Many of you have done great about emailing us.
And some of you have done poorly. We look at the numbers. I'm not
Also,
getting
you can come
thousands
leave
of
a
emails.
comment on thisweekinmormons.com. We've had a great run of comments on our on that old rated R movies aren't what they used to be.
Yes, that's what it
thing
is.
Up there, man. We get like 10 comments a day on there. It's delightful.
They don't
Just
make them like
delightful.
that. Yeah, it's thanks to everyone. If you're new to the show because of that article, well then welcome. Glad to have you here.
You've done it. You've made the cut.
That's, of course, facebook.com/thisweekinmormons. We are also at The Real Twim on Twitter. Find us on Pinterest and also find This Week in Mormons on Instagram. We finally decided to do it. I don't really know what we'll do with it, but we've decided to do it.
No, Jeff is going to do inspirational quotes every day.
No,
Mormon quotes.
I've got this.
and people are going to love
I've got
them.
this better idea. I think that I can break it up. So if you read certain passages of the Book of Mormon every day, you can read the whole Book of Mormon in a year. I'm going to call it Book of Mormon 365.
Yeah, do it, but actually show passages of the Book of Mormon.
I should just copy that, but I should just yes, exactly. Images of the verses crammed into a tiny little space.
This Week in Mormons.
So
All right, go get it, Jeff.
Yeah, we can do it. Oh, folks, also please keep an eye out for Sunday School Bonanza, and in a couple of weeks we'll have the next episodes up for Third Hour of Power, our co-branded podcast with This Mormon Life. They're wonderful people who we barely know, so it's great times all around.
Go get it.
Have a good time in the Caribbean, dude.
I will, Jeff. It's been delightful. Thanks, man.
Thank you, folks. We appreciate all of you tuning in very, very much, and we hope you'll join us again next week on another episode of This Week in Mormons. See you later.
The words of a prophet fall on my heart like rain falls on thirsty ground. They're words of joy, they're words of hope, and sweet, oh sweet is the sound. Sweet, oh sweet is the sound. The words of a prophet enlighten my mind like sunlight's a darkened sky. They're words of love, they're words of peace, and they come from our God